Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This is Hunter here, and Colin, you know what time it is. It's everyone's favorite time on the podcast. It's time for me to get on my knees and suck that Marvel dick. Because we are talking about Spider-Man Homecoming. Emphasis on coming for me the first time I saw this trailer, because this looks wonderful, to say the very least.
Yeah, you're a big a Marvel fan. I don't know if anybody that's listened to this podcast before realizes that.
Yeah, I've never mentioned Marvel before.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you like? What was your initial reaction when you saw this? I was curious because I was watching it and I was just like, man, I can just imagine Hunter watching like when the second this first came out. Like, what were you doing?
So I'll tell you right now. I've probably watched this trailer at least 20 times. Like, and that's probably lowballing it, to be totally honest. It's probably closer to 30. I've watched the shit out of this trailer, and I can't even put into words how happy this made me. Not just because we're getting a new Spider-Man trailer, a new Spider-Man movie, which, trust me, is cause for celebration. But the fact that this actually looks good, which is the thing that is really important. Thank God it actually looks like they might have actually gotten Spider-Man right for the first time in over a goddamn decade. Because it's been since the second Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, not the amazing Spider-Man 2, before people say that's what it is now. Thank God this movie actually looks fantastic. So, I'm just going to kind of jump in here. Just a couple things I noticed. One, if you look really carefully, you can notice Donald Glover is in this for like a second.
Oh, is he?
He's literally in it for a second. I believe it's...
So what do you think he is?
That is the one that's... I have no idea. And I was...
So we'll find out a lot more, obviously, as we're going forward.
Yeah, so just a couple things I noticed that really make me excited. He's in high school, which I love.
Yeah, I like that too. I like that he's a younger, like more kind of innocent Spider-Man.
Yeah, and it was funny because at Comic-Con this past year they said, we were going for John Hughes feel to it. And I was kind of like, that's stupid, but they're clearly going for John Hughes. Like, it's not.
Why did you think that was stupid?
I thought it was stupid because honestly, it felt like lip service. I was like, they're not going to put him back in high school. And then I was like, wow, they actually put him back in high school. I have to.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, bravo. That made me really happy. There were several things I did notice. If you know in science class, but because I'm just that dorky, the very last professor on the end with the pictures there is Bruce Banner.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
So I'm very curious if they're going to just talk about gamma radiation maybe, or maybe talk about like I'm curious how that will, if they bring that up or anything. I'm very interested because, of course, Robert Downey Jr., the godfather of the MCU, he's in this movie. And
yeah, I don't know how I feel about like how much he was in the trailer. I'm hoping that like he's in the trailer more than he's actually like percentage-wise of the actual movie.
And Colin, you may be surprised by this. I actually agree with you. Because that is the one thing that excites...
Like an oversaturation of the market type of thing.
Yeah, like...
It's getting almost too much of the Robert Downey Jr.
So this is where I agree and disagree with you. I agree that I don't want this to be an Iron Man movie. I want this to be a Spider-Man movie because it's been so long since we've had a great Spider-Man film. But it does make sense that he would be the father figure since Uncle Ben isn't around, which thank God they did not mention. It seems like they're just foregoing the origin, and thank God they're doing that, because if I have to see
they should, because now we've seen it twice now, right? Like they should just skip it.
Yeah,
kind of like how Batman should have skipped it.
And you literally beat me to the reference. Thank you.
Oh yeah. I know that bugged you, so yeah. Sorry to jump the gun on your main point, but yeah, no, I agree with you ahead of time before you even bring up the point.
Yeah, so it's very true. So I'm curious about that, but I hope he doesn't engulf the movie with Iron Man. The other thing I'm really surprised by, we made the joke off mic. Birdman is playing the Vulture in this movie. Michael Keaton playing the Vulture, who's always been a character I was really curious to see them do in the movies. Because he's very much he's actually the very first villain that Spider-Man ever fought in the original comics. So I was like, hey, it's his due, it's his time. And
you know what I like about the Vulture too is I feel like he's not going to be like this overpowering villain. Like it's going to be more of like a villain that Spider-Man reasonably can match up with. It's going to be kind of a fair fight, and it won't be ridiculous when Spider-Man finally wins.
Yeah, I love the way the suit looks. It looks like armor, and thank God they went that route and they like modernized it. But I gotta admit, the talons especially was a very nice touch. I'm very curious if maybe they'll bring up the fact that this is maybe it's stolen military tech from when S.H.I.E.L.D. fell, or maybe he's a former employee of Stark's. I just feel like they're gonna tie it in some way like that. But I love the way the suit looks just from what we've seen. And then seeing Michael Keaton out of the suit, he looks like an asshole, and I love that. He looks threatening.
Yeah. I'm excited to see Michael Keaton be the villain. I think he's going to be super awesome, especially because I was disappointed with how Ultron was, just because I didn't like how he was so CGI created, and it's going to be exciting to see like a real life, like recently very recognized and accomplished actor playing like an awesome villain like in real life. Like I'm excited to see that. Like James Spader's voice is awesome, but like I'm excited to see like Michael Keaton Michael Keaton's right there on the screen, and he's going to be a villain. It's going to be cool because in Civil War you just had all these established people fighting themselves. I mean, you got Black Panther introduced, but he was kind of the good guy. I mean, he was on the fence whether you liked him or you didn't. But I feel like this is going to be cool to see Michael Keaton really take on this role and see what he does with it.
No, I agree. And that line where he just goes, don't mess with me. I'll kill you and anyone you care about. I'm like, wow, that's kind of cutting straight to the chase there, isn't it? And I appreciate that. Like, he seems like a threat. And I think the other thing that people don't really think about, which is really unfair for Spider-Man was a teenager when he got his powers. He was like 14, 15, I believe. So I mean, imagine going through high school and having villains saying, "I'll kill you and your family." It's like, that's gotta be a little stressful. So I appreciate the fact that it seems like this movie is gonna definitely play off that. And then another thing I gotta bring up, because it's straight out of the 60s comics. Dude, he has spider wings. That's so wonderful.
Like, yeah, that looks pretty cool.
Like, I just as a nerd, I was like, oh, that makes me happy. Thank you. I mean, it's a very, nuanced thing that, if you didn't read the comics, you probably wouldn't even think about it. But as him being my favorite hero, probably my favorite comic book hero ever, I love that, the fact that he has that. And then, the last thing I do want to point out that I thought was really cool, there's the last kind of main part of the trailer shows him trying to keep a cruise ship, it looks like, together, or like a cruise ship together, and it reminds me so much, it clearly done intentionally, a throwback to a Spider-Man 2 with that scene on the train where he's trying to stop it, and I loved that callback to end the trailer. So I'm curious how we get to this point. I'm very curious how we get to this point. But just to show him trying to keep the ship together, while straining. Keep in mind, it showed he's almost as strong as Captain America in Civil War when he's going for a shield and like Spider-Man's pulling back. Like Spider-Man's really strong. And
like as strong as a spider.
Yeah, there you go.
Relatively to like an ant.
Yeah, exactly.
I like they got spiders, ants, all these insects.
Yeah.
I like what the old comics did there. It's like, what if humans were strong relatively as a a spider is to how much it weighs.
Like, yeah,
people smoked a lot of weed back then, a lot of LSD.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Have you read?
Stanley, I don't care what that man says. That dude was probably high as a kite.
I don't think he would deny it. If you look at
like the '60s had a lot of LSD.
Yeah, if you look at the Doctor Strange comics, the way they were drawn, you're like, God, they were on some shit when they drew this. But yeah, and they got spiders, they got ants, they got black cats. I mean, yeah, it's great. But they got black widows. But yeah,
I think the kid Tom Holland. I liked him in Civil War. He was, real brief, introduction to this guy. But I think I like him. I think I like him better. He hasn't ruined, Peter Parker yet, like the other two did. So we'll see. But I like him so far. I think he could do a good job.
Yeah, and there's and he looks like he's 8. He's actually 20, but he looks like he could be in high school, which helps. They
casted well on that front. They clearly knew what they were doing. They were like, we want a high school kid, but we can't. We're not going to get an actual high school kid because all high school kids are shit actors. So 20-year-old that's actually like at least a little bit mature, but he looks like he's fucking 15. So we'll use him. They did it. Marvel. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, these fuckers. They just all they do is fucking just hit home runs. It's ridiculous. And we'll see how this pans out, but obviously it looks good. And they did a good job. How does the company they do so well, and then like someone like Warner Brothers and DC, like how do they keep failing? I don't understand. Is it just like the top trickling down, like the leaders of Marvel and Disney? They're just better. They're just smarter. Like I don't get it. But it seems they just keep doing. They don't mess up. Like it's so hard to mess up, and they just don't. They don't do it.
Yeah, I think what people would say the weakest two films in the whole MCU are Thor: The Dark World, which I hated. And then Iron Man 2, which I still think is an okay movie. I think
that's okay as well. Like I don't think it's terrible.
Yeah, I thought
that was still when they were like real early on Iron Man 2. Like Dark World, they probably didn't try very hard on that one.
Yeah,
because he's the least popular character probably of the Avengers.
Probably actually, but it's amazing that they keep, as you put it, they're hitting home runs. Keep in mind that Guardians of the Galaxy comes out almost 2 months earlier to the day, and mark my words, around mid-March, that hype train's going to get going for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and then after, and then when June hits, and more of like a month out, it's like, hey, Homecoming's coming out around 4th of July weekend. What a better way to spend your weekend than seeing Spider-Man. Well, Marvel, I'll already be there, so you got my money.
And like Guardians of the Galaxy, they're going to drop like some crazy IMAX 3D trailer, like some brand new trailer for Spider-Man, and everyone's just going to lose their damn minds. Like, it's going to be intense. Like, I'm excited. Like, me even just saying that out loud, I got excited. I was like, oh shit. Like, I want to see Spider-Man flying around fighting fucking Birdman, like, in IMAX 3D, like, sign me up.
Spider-Man versus Birdman.
Yeah, and then, like, can he get an A on his calculus test? Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll find out. But
you gonna get that cute little black chick? Like, I like where they're going with that one, too. Like, he's got a Latino, overweight friend, and he's like, eyes out for, the cute black chick. Like, man, he's so, like, progressive with, like, his views. Man, Marvel, killing it.
And by the way, that is something that was something that kind of not even bothered me, but So I was, and I said this, I believe, on a broadcast, that when they said, hey, we're going to reboot Spider-Man, I wanted Miles Morales. I wanted Miles Morales so bad. And so when they went, hey, it's going to be Peter Parker, I was like, God damn it. I was like, I really wanted Miles. They stole Miles's Asian friend because that fat Asian kid who's in the trailer is clearly Peter's best friend. He looks.
Oh, is he Asian? Sorry, I don't. Still not white.
yeah. No, not white. He in the comics, the character's name is Gonke, and he's not. And he's clearly not Gonke, this character, but he looks so much like him. I just went, okay, that's a little on the nose. So, and then also you have Donald Glover in this trailer for a moment. Like, literally for a second.
And he's, like, 4th billed on IMDb, if that means anything. But they don't say who he is.
Exactly. Marvel's kept that shit close to the chest. So I'm very curious who he's
going
to be.
So, tell me if you know this. Do you know if... And I'm asking this as I don't know. Do you know if Peter Parker and Miles Morales, were they, friends with each other? Or did they ever cross paths? Or are these, two separate, iterations of... Spider-Man.
So basically, the quick version is Peter Parker gets killed fighting the Green Goblin, and Miles Morales sees him get killed, basically, and then he becomes Spider-Man. So
did they have any interaction though?
No, actually.
No. So he takes over. Not knowing him at all, he just knows Spider-Man.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so and then what's the background story on, how does he get the powers?
His Miles Morales' dad works at a corporation, and he gets bit by a spider. You find out, I won't go through the whole thing, that's the shorthand of it. So, I mean...
So he gets bit by the same type of radioactive spider.
Yeah, it's like an enhanced
He has
version.
access to the same type of labs that Peter Parker originally went to.
Yeah.
So this movie, they're not going to do any background how he got his powers. You don't think?
I mean, they might mention it in passing, but I don't think they're going to...
They'll have to establish it, I think, at some point, because it's their own version of it, right?
Yeah,
they can't just be you all seen the Sony films, you get it.
Yeah, I mean, but I also think, it's one of those things, very similar to Batman, where people just know the origin by now. Yeah. So, I mean, they'll maybe mention it in passing, but
I feel there'll be a flashback scene where he gets bit by a spider.
Yeah, I mean, if it's, a minute scene, fine, but I don't want them to spend 5 minutes on it, so...
No, I don't think it'll be a long scene, but I think it'll be, him, going to sleep at night and having a bad dream about getting bit by the spider. They'll throw it in somehow, I bet you.
That would work. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I'm sure they've all brainstormed, what's the best way to do it so, fans don't get mad that we're just, wasting their time again. Everybody knows the origin, but, at the same time, we have to, at least put it in there.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think? I don't know.
No, I think that's actually a very, good observation. I think they'll definitely have a throwback to it, but I don't know. I mean, I just kind of want them to get through it quick and then just leave it alone.
Yeah.
But
okay, so I'm looking at the IMDb before we wrap it up, and I just see Hannibal Buress as Coach Wilson, and I can't even be more excited about the fact that I just read that. That just sounds great.
Well, that does actually make me happy that Hannibal Buress is in it.
Yeah.
I mean, Hannibal Buress is great, and I mean, we hated Daddy's Home, and he was even great in that. So, I mean, that's how good Hannibal Buress is. So, again, it's Spider-Man. People have been waiting for Marvel to be able to have some say in Spider-Man, and we have to thank Sony for fucking up Spider-Man so bad that they had to crawl to Marvel and be help us. So, yay!
Thanks, Sony.
Yeah, so
now we can get a crazy ass Avengers movie.
So
with Spider-Man in it.
So that is the thing I will just kind of leave out there as we wrap this up, is I'm very curious going forward, because we get the next Avengers movie 2018. So I'm very curious, Spider-Man, how that's gonna, because we only have a few movies before we get to the next Avengers. So I'm curious how they're gonna.
You know what I want to see at some point is I want Deadpool to show up somewhere.
I mean, I would love that, but I don't think Fox is gonna hold on to X-Men. They'll fuck it up as much as they want. They even though Logan looks wonderful, but they will hold on to that shit.
So Deadpool and X-Men are strictly Fox.
Yeah, okay. Unfortunately.
Even though working Marvel, maybe one day.
There you
go. One day we'll get X-Men, Deadpool, Avengers, Spider-Man, all in one movie. Oh God, Hunter would probably you would die.
I would probably die, but I have to be. But honestly though, I have to be happy that Marvel doesn't own the rights to X-Men, because if they did, we would have gotten Guardians of the Galaxy if they owned the rights to X-Men. So,
if it's all there. Yeah, you're right.
So we wouldn't have gotten that. We would have gotten Ant-Man. So I'm happy that they don't. But in a perfect world, to see the X-Men team up with the Avengers or fight the oh God, that would. Okay, sorry. Whew, I'm gonna start nerding out. Yeah. But anyways, guys.
We'll get a black Spider-Man, black Wolverine. Let's do it. Let's go there.
Oh, calm down, slow down, baby. But guys, Spider-Man: Homecoming, July 7th. I already have the date off of work, so I'll be seeing that shit in IMAX 3D July 6th, right after work. Me and my Nick, Colin, we already have a bro date planned for that night. So
like that Nick guy.
Yeah, I will be wearing a Spider-Man suit to the premiere. But guys, you think I'm joking? But guys, guys, how are you feeling about Spider-Man? Are you excited about it? Do you think this is just kind of Marvel's last stand on it? They cannot fuck this movie up, by the way. Marvel, you better not fuck this up. I'm done with Spider-Man if you fuck this up. But guys, let us know what you think. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. You can follow us on SoundCloud at TheRealPineapple775. Like us on Facebook at The Real Pineapple. And you can follow Mr. Colin O'Neill on Twitter at
The Real O'Neill.
Guys, thank you so much. We will have a review up for Rogue One. Thank God. I might even go see it Thursday night. That's how excited I am for that movie. A Star Wars story. And we will have a discussion about our favorite Christmas movies, which I'm very excited about. Jingle all the way. Guys, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Meow.